What's up guys, my name's Scott and this is School of Sleights. The online tutorial we're going to learn everything from start to finish about what it takes to be a great card magician. And this is the first ever episode. So the way I'm going to go about teaching anything is I'll start with the basics and very quickly we'll get into some basic tricks, but before that we need to learn how to handle our cards. So this tutorial is about learning the Riffle Shuffle. Looks just like this. So I know you've all probably seen it at some point or another, but although it's basic, it can take a little bit of practice to get down, but it's very important that you know how to shuffle cards. It's able to convince your spectators that their card is going to be completely lost within the deck. So the first thing you need to know is how to hold your cards. So there's a thing called mechanics grip. Essentially one thumb lays along the side, your index finger comes along top, and 3 fingers are along the other side. Now personally I hold the deck in my left hand. If you hold it in your right hand, you're just going to do the exact opposite of what I'm telling you. Same position, but in your right hand instead of left. So what you're going to do is when you're holding a mechanics grip, take your opposite 3 fingers, grab the top of the deck here, and your thumb grabs the bottom, and your index finger, I usually just rest it just like this on the back so I can apply pressure. So just to start off, get some practice, hold your hand here, and just allow your thumb to come back through the cards and get a nice even riffle. Now when you're comfortable with this, just rifling through the cards, because this can be used in any trick. You can do it one-handed, go through cards, you can just do it like this, you can do a nice little dribble off of them. So it's really useful just to be able to rifle through the cards like that. So what I want you to practice doing now, stop at about half the cards. It doesn't have to be exactly half, it can be 3/4, whatever you want. But I find about half is perfect for this kind of trick, right? So now all you're going to do, take the cards in your opposite hand, so you can just pick them up if you want to, or you can push them over, whatever works, and get in the exact same position. So I find about 3 fingers on the bottom, your index fingers on the back of each, and your thumbs up on top. And that riffle we did before, that's all we're going to do, but with both sides. Alright? So from here, angle the cards down slightly towards the table. And it's easier to start with the table just so there's some force to catch the cards at the end. So your knuckles bend, and all you're going to do is let the thumbs come back equally. Now you'll notice there's a little bit of overlap with the cards. There's not a lot, and this little bit of overlap is going to help later on for when we get into learning how the rainbow fall works. So for now we're just going to stick with the actual shuffling, and we're not going to deal about that fall. So grab your cards, riffle half the deck, take in your opposite hand, angle them down, make sure you can flex the cards, and drop them about evenly. Now when you first start off, all I want you to do is you're just going to shuffle them together just like this. So put them together, and then there's your shuffled deck. You square them up. Now I know when I first started, I got like really chunky piles, so go like that down, that, and you can really tell in the deck they're not shuffled that well. There's a lot of gaps and blocks of cards. That'll come with time, and it's just all about practice and learning the amount of pressure you need in order to get your cards essentially like a 1-to-1 ratio. So from here you can drop them almost perfectly even. You can see how nicely they're feathered together. Almost no 2 cards from the same side are touching. So essentially that's the first half of this tutorial. The second half will be continuing the same video, but for you guys who haven't gotten down that riffle shuffle yet, go get it down. It might take a couple of days, it might take a week or two. Everyone learns at their own pace. I know I took a long time with learning this kind of stuff, but I promise, just stick with it and you'll get it. So when you're done with that, come on back to this tutorial and let's learn how to do that rainbow fall at the end. Alright? So for you guys, I'll see you later. If you guys are sticking around, let's move on to the second half of the tutorial. Alright, so to learn the rainbow fall, what you're going to do is get in your position, so we take off half the cards, riffle them down, and get in this position. Now, how to get in this position is essentially take your bottom 3 fingers, or 4, however you prefer, have them along the bottom of the deck, and have your thumbs on the top, so about in the middle of the whole in the middle of the whole deck of cards, have your thumbs. What the thumbs are going to do is they're going to apply downward pressure as you arc the cards up. So don't worry about bending your cards, they're going to fall back into a normal position, but you're really going to get a nice big bend, just like that. And now what you're going to do, it's hard to do in slow motion, is you're going to release all 3 fingers, and right away the cards are going to start to fall. And that's going to be okay, but you need to be really quick when getting into that position, and just release the hands. So when I say release the hands, what I mean is you have your 3 fingers on bottom, and your thumb here. 3 fingers are going to release, while your hands are still applying pressure to the sides of the cards, and your thumbs push down. So your hands sort of go in like a motion like that. And what I find really helps is I just bring my elbows out. And by doing that, the hands naturally fall into the position I need them to. So, when you have both piles, you have them nicely riffled, just like this. Up, elbows out, and the cards start to fall. So what a lot of people do when they start off is they spread their hands out like this, and the cards just end up falling everywhere. That's not what you want to do. You want to make sure that the cards stay in your hands like this, so that you're able to take your fingers away and they can still be held. And that's the trick. So you take your cards, riffle them in, apply pressure so they're held in between your hands here, just like that. Up, and they fall just like that. So you can see how my fingers aren't touching the cards at all on the bottom, but they're sort of resting in between the palms of my hands. Now, your thumbs are the crucial part of this. So when you're in your position, what your thumbs are doing are they're going to apply some downward pressure, but not like pushing them down, but you just apply enough pressure, and then you release them. Oop, that was bad. You're going to release the pressure off your thumbs as your elbows come out. So it's really all about just bring those elbows out, and you'll feel the natural position. And then eventually, after enough practice with that, you'll be able to do it without moving your elbows. You can just do it right there in your hands. You can still see there's a little bit of that arm motion. So that's essentially the riffle shuffle. Now, you can apply this to literally any trick in the world. I mean, there's so much you can do with that. So as a little bonus here at the end, all I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little application of how you can use it. And the Sleights I'm going to be using, we'll learn later on, I promise. But essentially, this is how you can incorporate it. So we'll stop in a part, stop here. So we'll go and take a card from the center of the deck. It'll be the King of Spades. What we'll do is we'll put the King back in the center of the deck. And make sure your card's truly lost, we'll go ahead, we'll shuffle up the deck, and we'll even give it a little cut. So you saw just there, I was able to use the Riffle Shuffle to show you that your card's truly lost. Now, just by snapping our fingers though, we can bring the King of Spades back to the top of the deck. So that's how you can use a Riffle Shuffle to really deceive your audience into thinking that their card's lost. So that Sleight I just did, I'll be teaching it later on, probably in a week or so. It's not as difficult as it seems, but when you start learning, it's going to take a lot of practice to get the basics of handling down. So until next time, guys, see you later.